Welcome back to Just Drive with Ahmed and his favourite car.
One of my favourite cars.
One of his favourite cars.
Yes.
But you're not here to see Ahmed.
No, they're here to see the
You're
car.
here to see me.
There are a lot of people seeing the car, man.
Everybody's here to see me. It is quite a...
Show them the car.
There it
Instead
is.
of showing your face.
There it is. But no, seriously, we're here. This is the review. There he is. Review. Yay.
I love the car. Get over
Yes.
it.
Okay, so let's have a quick walk around and we'll explain what we've got.
Exactly. So, starting with the obvious
Well, we'll
thing.
start with the fact that it's an Audi, and it's an Audi RS5.
Starting with the most obvious thing again, the Quattro.
Yes.
So, you have that big Quattro sign telling you it's a four-wheel drive car. And you have these amazing headlights.
Yes, you've got the Matrix LEDs. Yep.
You have
The car itself finished in Nardo Grey, which is a standard option colour in Bahrain, and it might be across the world. I just know it's not in my local dealership.
You have this huge grille that sets it apart from the
A5 and S5. So this one is actually a lot wider. It's not as long or as tall, it's just
wide.
thicker. Going around the sides, we've got these bulged arches, the flares, which really goes back to the classic Quattro. But before then, I'm just going to go and irritate Ahmed. You know this aero here? It's good aero, this. It's great aero. Where's it go? Where's it go, Ahmed?
Nowhere.
Oh, it's a shame. That's a shame.
You're not driving this car.
We'll see. So, we've got the optional extra, the most expensive wheels you can get for this car. And my God, do they look good. 20 inches. Dual tone with those big red brakes. Now the red colour, that's another option.
Amazing.
So this car is quite high with options, as you can tell from the different colour wing mirrors.
And the carbon fibre.
This incredibly useful roof that looks nice and has thousands of uses. It's a good looking car. It's got beautiful Matrix LED tail lights, RS5 badging, the exhausts, and quite honestly, what's Ahmed? What's this? What's this? What is it? Is this an active aero? Is it?
It's not working.
Well, it's not useful, is it? Oh, okay. It's a shame. So we got rear haunches that come out on the back of the car, making this quite an angular, strong, muscular looking car. The engine is on, but you've already heard that from the startup. Are you going now, Ahmed? Okay. Great.
If you don't like the car, you're not coming into the car.
It's a nice car, but
Stop saying bad things about it.
if I can't wind you up, what's the point of me being here? It's the whole point of me existing. I was built to wind people up. That's right. Come on back. But no, this is a beautiful car. We have attained this through Audi and Audi Bahrain. We'd like to say special thank you to Bahraini as usual, as they're the only people nice enough to trust us with a wonderful car.
Submarine.
And especially Submarine, who's organised this very particular car and has helped us out with all of our Audi content.
Everything. It's an amazing car.
Yes.
And actually, why are you standing in the heat? I forgive you. Let's go for a ride.
All right, okay. Get out.
No.
Get out.
No.
Okay, we'll see.
Welcome back.
Welcome to the inside of the car.
Yes,
actually.
To the inside of the Audi RS5.
Yes.
One of my favorite cars.
And truthfully, attempt number 3 at filming this.
Yes. We're not gonna say anything of what happened. No jinx. We don't want to jinx it.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
So, yeah, where do we start? The exterior?
So, where do we start again? So, briefly going over what we've just seen through the walk around at the beginning.
Yes.
We're in an RS5, an Audi RS5. It's a 2018 model.
Lovely Nardo Grey.
Finished in Nardo Grey.
RS5.
Which is actually the standard colour choice for the car.
In Bahrain.
In the Middle East and potentially...
In Bahrain.
No, in the rest of the world. might just be my local dealership back in Swansea that doesn't. Anyway, so this car's got quite a few optional extras because it is the dealer's the one that the dealer has for test drives.
Demo
and
car.
It's the dealer's demo car. So it's got some high specs. So it's finished with the added extra wheels.
Yes, the 20-inch black striped wheels, something.
We're real good at this. Okay, so this car actually has a lot of options as standard, especially around the exterior.
Yes.
So
you have the Matrix LED headlights, which are phenomenal.
Audi makes just the best.
If it's an option, you have to get it. You have to get that.
It's quite good at this standard.
Yes. And then you have the Quattro badging at the lower front of the at the lower of the front bumper.
Yes.
And obviously, being an RS, you have that huge grille.
Yes.
So
it's not taller; it's a lot wider, and it's shorter mainly because of the Quattro badging and things like that. Just to go out, it looks a lot more aggressive. The fact that it's wider, anyway.
Yeah.
Now the RS does sit a smidgen lower than the S model.
But it's not too low.
No, it's not too low.
You still can go over humps and speed bumps and all of that without worrying about
no, don't
anything.
get me wrong. Which I know we're going to go into this when we go to the driving portion, but when this car is in comfort, it is no different from an A5.
See, I love the car. Don't get me wrong. Whatever I'm going to say, you have to know that I'm saying it with a loving, passion behind it.
This is one of Ahmed's favorite cars.
Exactly. And no matter what it is that I'm gonna say, that I don't like or whatever it's not, I would still get the car with all of these things. So the ride, let's say the comfort of the ride, being a sport car, being an RS5, okay, you're not expecting the level of comfort in an A8.
No.
You're not expecting the level of comfort even in A7 or A6.
No.
You are expecting the ride to be stiff in general, period. So when you chuck it into comfort, okay, and you drive around, it softens up the ride just enough to feel the difference between dynamic and comfort. That's it. Okay? So it's comfortable, but barely for a sports car.
Yes, well, it's more comfortable than most sports cars we have been in.
Yes.
But it does have the dynamic control that comes standard as well.
Yeah. So, see, the thing is,
dynamic suspension control, all that. Before I just cut out halfway.
Because I love the RS5, okay, I'm driving it always in dynamic. I don't mind that extra stiffness. It's not, neck breaking stiffness. It's not spine shattering
so
stiffness.
Much petrol, I can't begin to tell you. We filled the tank up, and it's got. This is something. Well, I might as well say it now. It's got a wonderful. It's not wonderful. It's got a good range. I don't know how you can say it's a wonderful range. It's got a large range that it can, cover a lot of miles if you drive sensibly.
So,
if you drive sensibly.
Now continuing with the exterior of the car itself.
Ahmed doesn't drive sensibly. Okay, I'm gonna go into it. It's every 2 minutes. Blah 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah,
I
blah,
love
blah,
the car.
And that's fine. Okay, I get it. It's a wonderful car. It's a good chance to enjoy.
Yes.
400 kilometers of range he's used in not even a day of petrol. We haven't driven that far, obviously.
400 kilometers of range and 50 kilometers actual driving. And see, don't get me wrong, I'm not revving it, to the... No, it's just like you're revving it up to 4,000 and just letting off. That's it. You just go to 4,000 and just let off. You just...
No, it's got a wonderful soundtrack, this car. So that's something that leads us on to the sports exhaust, or the better exhaust, is a standard option, which you'd expect it to be with the top of the main range sports
Exactly.
model.
You wouldn't go with a standard exhaust as a standard. So the sport exhaust, you have that wide oval shape.
Yes, the classic
exhaust.
RS shape.
The classic RS shape. So at the back also you have that rear, lip on the trunk itself.
Yes.
So
the rear lip spoiler. I've just driven somewhere I wasn't supposed to drive, let's be honest. That's why Ahmed's giving me that awkward look.
So you have that rear lip, and then extending over the car itself. In this car we have the optional carbon fiber roof,
yes,
which looks nice. Okay, I would love to go with the standard, panoramic sunroof.
Yes.
But still, it's an RS5.
Yes,
and
it is a sports car.
Exactly.
And to be honest, the carbon roof does really help the handling.
The aesthetic of the car also.
Not just, the aesthetic, because of course, carbon on a sports car always looks good. But this does have a purpose. It lowers the center of gravity, unlike the panoramic roof,
which raises the center of gravity. Now, still on the subject of the exterior of the car, if you haven't noticed, the front grille is not all of it fully functional.
No.
There are bits and pieces that are closed off, and also you have next to the headlights you have intakes over there, but these are closed off, so it's just purely aesthetic.
There are a lot of things.
Yeah.
So there's also the same intakes at the back, or will they be outtakes? I'm not sure what they call them, but exhaust area for air flowing.
So,
but that's at the rear tail lights, so they're also fake.
Exactly.
So, as aggressive and as good looking as this car does look, which it is,
yes.
not all of it is 100% functional.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest,
it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
It's not a reason that I'm not going to buy this car.
Exactly. Even on the side, you get the RS badge, okay, where it's supposed to be an opening, but it's just an RS badge, blacked out, and that's it. Still, doesn't bother me one single bit.
Not at all.
Not at all.
So, moving on from the exterior,
yes,
we're going to go into the interior.
Yes, where we are sat here,
which we are wonderfully sat in here now. There's something I'd like to point out is, as a very large, tall, and portly gentleman, I'm comfortable.
Very comfortable.
The leg room, for those who are tall, now this is something I'd like to point out, how oddly proportioned I am. Ahmed has the same length legs as me. I'm 6'4". Ahmed, how tall are you?
182, 183.
What's that, 5'10", 5'11"?
I don't know, but
Let's say 5'10".
Apples.
Okay. Well, I'm 191 and a smidgen, so 6'3" and a half.
5 stones and 3 gravels and 2 dust particles.
Right.
Another gay Audi.
An RS3.
Sorry, guys.
Car spotting. So I've got a load of legroom, and you've got loads. Now, something we'd like to point out: there's no point in rear seats for these cars.
There is no one. Nobody can sit.
No one's. You've got to be seriously a paraplegic to get in the back of those, or just have no legs at all. It's good for babies, kid seats.
If you put I don't think you can fit a
yes,
child
they
seat.
are.
Oh, yeah,
They've got the access points for the child seats.
Yes.
But as well, room. I've got enough room.
No.
I've got enough room. I could, Ahmed says something I don't want to hear. That's enough room.
Nice to know.
Well, I look for these things in a car.
So, on the interior of the car, okay?
Yes.
Apart from the room and the spaciousness and everything, you have this nice Alcantara on the side of the car.
Yes, you do.
Some people don't like it. Some people actually do like it.
I like Alcantara.
Okay. You have the optional carbon fiber, which is real carbon fiber.
So this is something that me and Ahmed disagree on. I don't personally, as nice as it is, it's not what I would buy in my car, and I don't think it's 100% necessary. Because, I've got a reason for this.
Okay.
If I was going to go buy a GT3 RS, I'd get all the carbon, because you buy that car, because it's got to be as light as possible and as stiff as possible for the track use. It's got to be this. It's a bit showy here. And I'd say the same with an M4, I'd say the same with a C63. I think it just looks nicer if it was in another option that it does come in, which is aluminum, or for me what I would choose is the piano black finish. But I know you really disagree with me. And that's fine, because he's wrong. And you were wrong too.
Regardless of what he's saying, for me, I love these carbon fiber accents. It just adds to the character of the car. Because you have the carbon fiber roof. Okay, on the inside it continues with the carbon fiber theme. Okay, it just adds to that sportiness, to that RS feel, to that, you know, it's something special. When you drive it, we get looks from people. It's
Yes,
one of the
we
cars
have
that if I see on the road, I'm gonna look at it driving
it's
by.
quite surreal that we're now at this point with dealers, and we've managed to create such a wonderful relationship that we're getting the cars that we are such massive fans of, and for that we have to say thank you, and we will come back to that.
Yeah.
But moving on to the interior of the car,
you
this
have
model does come with what is it? It's the Audi exclusive red interior.
Yes, yes.
So this, so the RS5 has 3 inclusive standard interiors: full black with red stitching, full black with greyish white stitching, which, to be honest, might be the one that I would go for because of the Nada grey exterior, and cream with silver stitching, which is one I don't think I'd touch. But this one is finished with and it's super expensive.
It doesn't come. Sorry. It doesn't come with the tan leather.
No.
The dark brown leather.
No.
I love that color in Audis. My wife's car is in that color.
Is it?
Yeah, the dark brown.
Can I just say, we're also cousins, and I have never ever looked inside a car. I always thought it was like fabric. Never once have I looked inside that car.
It's that dark brown leather look.
Oh, right.
It looks really nice in an Audi, and I look for that color in every Audi. It's like, I want that color for my car.
Yeah.
So I'm just actually surprised that the RS5 doesn't come with that color.
Well, it's not an option. It can come if you pay a little extra, like with a lot of car manufacturers. If you give that much more, you can get more out of it.
Okay, so continuing with the...
So, I'm going to move to the steering wheel before I talk about the center console and everything else.
Okay.
This one is finished, because it comes with the extra red, it's got dual tone and it's got perforated leather. Not what we'd go for. We're both Alcantara weirdos.
Yeah.
And I love the steering wheel. The proportions for me, the proportions. The perforated leather is nice. And it's actually something that's changed my mind, because I always thought that in this weather, I would need perforated leather, because I sweat. And it is 55 degrees out and about, so it is important that you're cool. But something I was surprised about was how good the AC is, and this is to do with the
just
steering wheel.
Yesterday we had to switch it off, even though it was very hot outside. We had to switch it off because we thought that we were gonna get sick.
Yes, no.
This is how good the AC is.
I come from Wales, where it's always cold, and I was shocked by this. So going back to the steering wheel, it's not necessary to have the perforated leather, as I've said previously, with this car anyway. But the fit of the steering wheel, it's thinner at the top, it goes, and it's heavily bolstered towards the sides. It's thicker, and it's just, when you're driving this car, more spirited.
Yeah.
You're holding on.
Yes.
It's got a flat bottom, it makes it feel sporty. It's not the biggest steering wheel in the world, but it's also not the smallest. And that's what I like, because I've got ginormous hands. And to me, I think it's you know, it's got all the buttons you'd need.
It's a perfect
It's got everything you need.
It's a perfect
size. Because I feel like some cars, McLaren, have tiny steering wheels.
It depends on the car itself.
There is one drawback of this steering wheel.
Go on.
And it's one that we both agree on.
Okay. I know where you're going with this.
The flappy paddles. Years ago, things that nobody liked, nobody uses. Now everybody is looking for them in every sort of way.
Guys, you have to remember, I really love the car. But still,
even
I have to
got a
point
niggle
out
with it.
the things that, you know, just doesn't sit right with me.
Yes.
And these flappy paddles, like the Audi, the RS5, sporty.
Yes.
You know, it looks good, and when it shifts gears, it just, you know,
the noise is phenomenal. And that's what we're going to come back to.
Exactly. And shifting the gear is seamless.
Yes. Okay. It's a double clutch.
Yeah. But with those flappy paddles, I wish that they were like metal, so you have like a real feel to them, a real click to them.
So when you first sit down in here, you've got a Viano black, which is what it's called, an aluminum highlighted flappy paddle. when you go to touch it, you're greeted with your hand at the back with this scratchy, cheap feeling.
It's not cheap. The car is not
it's
cheap.
Not cheap. Don't get me wrong, but it's cheap feeling.
Yeah. Plastic
is what it is,
and you wouldn't.
And that I find quite shocking. I don't expect to see it in this kind of car.
Exactly.
But that is the only drawback for me. I think that it's great. It's got all the buttons I need. You know, all of your music controls, your navigation, bringing up and changing the menus, changing the songs, and at the back you've got all of your wipers, your this, your that. All you find in a normal car, in this sports car. I mean, it's no Ferrari with all the buttons on the steering wheel, just freaking everybody out. So you've got your cruise control here, something you will never use in this car. No? Something, you know, it's good. You have them in all cars, and it's great. What is that weird? There's one little button, which I'm sure Ahmed is showing you now, through the wonders of editing.
This is to reset the trip counter on the car itself. You just reset it. You can't reset it again.
Why has it got the same emblem though as? It
says 00.
Yeah, I know, but it's got the same emblem as the.
Because literally, when you click on it, it's zeroes.
No, I know that, but it's got the same emblem
as the cruise control.
As cruise control. So we're going to swap over now. I'm going to let Ahmed drive the car that he loves oh so much, and maybe I'll let him drive it. Maybe I won't. But we'll see you in a bit. So you join us after.
Switching over.
Ahmed taking about 3 years to put his seatbelt on, as per usual.
And that's why I'm all sweaty.
Yes.
And
it's a lot of hard work putting the seatbelt on. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, I'm sweaty, but clearly I'm far more fit than Ahmed. The digital display.
The digital cockpit, actually.
The digital cockpit.
That's what Audi calls it. It's the digital cockpit. So, in the old Audis, you had the analog gauges and a central digital screen, but now with the new change and the new, let's say, overhaul of the central console, or what do you call it, the cockpit itself, now you have everything digital. So basically you can manipulate. Exactly. You can manipulate and you can change the way it looks to specified settings. You still have the classic layout, which is something handy if you fancy that classic layout of the rev counter on one side and the, you know, the speedometer on the other side. But since you're on an RS5, you would enjoy, just like I enjoy and Louis enjoys, the central rev counter is like in the front of you, and then you have the torque and power on your left, and you have the G meter on the right. No, it just gives you that.
It does. Now, there's one thing I'd like to point out is it's totally configurable. Whether you want the music on the left, the music on the right, whether you want engine data, whether you want your phone, anything. Honestly, it moves to a point that there really is no need for a central digital infotainment system, because that's, at this point, it's more for me than it is for Ahmed, because everything he needs is there in the digital display.
Now, still sticking with the central what do you call it, the digital cockpit itself, I find it actually really sharp and really high definition.
Yes. Oh no, it is completely high definition. There is one complaint I have, and I think it's more to do with the graphics used for the numbers in the rev counter.
Honestly, I see no problem with them. It could be just you, but for me, it just looks like.
No, Ahmed, my eyes are completely perfect. But no, when I see it, it just looks a little fuzzy, like it's not completely, like the screen is so high quality. I just would have wished the numbers on the rev counter itself, on everything else, are sharp, but on that maybe this is just me and my bad eyesight.
I'm just gonna disagree with you and say it looks sharp and it looks decent. And also on the same screen you have the boost level.
Yes.
So at the lower end, the lower right end of the screen itself, you will see where the boost is, so you know how your turbos are doing actually.
And the way we've configured it, personally, how we would like looking at it, we've got the engine data, so the torque amount percentage and the power percentage, showing you how much, you know, newton meters left you've got and how much horsepower you've got still in the bank.
Exactly. And just moving a little bit up of the digital cockpit, you have one of the nicest features that you will get in these modern cars. You have the heads-up display. Now, depending on how you set it up, you can set it up with a button next to you on the left of the steering wheel. But depending on your settings, you can have as much as, or let's say as low as just only the, you know, the kilometers per hour or
miles per hour,
or miles per hour, the speed, or you can clutter it up with, like, you know, which gear you're in, what's the lap time, and all of
not just that, but I found it was showing me temperatures.
Exactly.
And when I originally sat in the car for the first time, this was the first car I've ever been in. Well, no, it's not the first. I was in the BMW. This is the first car that I've ever utilised this heads-up display.
Yeah.
Now, it looks really cool because it's just like it's a laser projected on the road. But when I first got in, it was so confusing because we had temperatures for everything up and speed.
It was a bit distracting.
Yes.
So when you look at it, it's like, where am I?
I mean,
where's the road?
if that's what you want, that's great because it's all available. But
exactly. It's all
when we configured it and we just changed it to simple
just to
speed,
the speed. Yeah.
it's
more,
I really
it's
appreciated it.
It's non-intrusive.
That's perfect. It's non-intrusive.
Exactly. You just look at the road and you just see one figure. That's your speed. That's it. So for us, just the speedometer is perfectly fine.
Yes.
Now, on this, moving to the from the heads-up display to the central console.
Before we do, this is just a quick question.
Yes.
Is this the same digital display in the Lamborghini Huracan? Because I think it is. Obviously with just different iOS or OS or whatever operating system. Yeah, well, all right. I don't do IT, Ahmed, but I think it is because I know it's the relatively similar shape. Now, I could be wrong, and please can tell me down there, but
I haven't tried the Lamborghini Huracan Evo, so Bahbahani, Bahrain, Nasser.
Even in the regular Huracan?
No, I haven't tried either one of them, so we're waiting for the
just
test
means
drive.
that we might have to have one to borrow from you a little bit.
Thank you, Nasser. Thank you, Tahir, in advance. In the center console, it's very minimalistic.
Yes, but that's great.
It's not a bad thing.
Yep.
It's minimalistic to a point. You have only the functions that you need.
Yes.
Okay. So you have the AC.
Yes, and that's quite good because I don't like those AC systems. You got to go through the infotainment to find.
No.
This is strict, especially in this country where it's like 1,000 degrees outside.
You just want to press the button and that's it. Speaking also of the AC itself.
Yes, going back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
It is immense. My God, this thing is. It's
cool.
So good.
But even the controls of the AC are so nicely well put together.
Yes.
This is the first time I'm seeing something like this. So when you look at it, it's just only those, let's say, aluminum look and feel of buttons, but they are touch sensitive, not just to control. No. They are touch sensitive to your fingertip, and it will just highlight the option for you.
Yes.
So if you want to increase the fan, if you want to change the AC mode, you will touch it. It will just highlight that and just flick up and down to change.
It's all very good to look at. Going down from that, we've got a couple more little buttons. You know, you've got your traction control, you've got your drive selector mode, you've got your parking sensors, you've got everything you need. And you know, you can't really ask for too much.
No.
So going below that,
going below that, you have the
start-stop.
Before the start, you have the you have the start-stop button, which is accented in red.
Yep.
A nice touch in the RS. Okay.
Yes.
And also you have the buttons for the 360 cameras.
Oh yes.
Okay. And you have also the button for the auto park.
Yes.
So this car comes with an auto parking feature. Honestly, personally, I never trust any auto parking in any car. I don't even want to try it.
I'm sure they're very, very
they're good. They're good.
But,
it's just the analog me. Analog me just likes it. You know what? I'll park my car.
I'm gonna pay this much for a car. I want to make sure it's me that's gonna ruin it when it happens.
So there's nothing wrong with the auto park in this car or any other car. It's just me. I'm scared of using the auto park. Just having the car doing its magic by itself.
Ahmed's actually 700 years old, so he's still not used to IT. Even though he works on IT, he's just not used to it yet.
Yeah. So now you have the 360 camera. I have only one point to address in the 360 camera, is that because the central infotainment system screen is not touch, okay, you cannot change the modes of the camera from the screen itself. You have to go to the wheel that's below these buttons and change the mode of that camera to be front, back, all around 360.
But then again, that's really first world problems. Moving on to the menu and the infotainment system, how you use it.
Exactly. So you have the You have obviously the central dial, the big central dial that controls going to the function, and you have on the left or right of it is the buttons to go back or go to the extra menu. Okay, but even if you're on the GPS, the central dial itself has that touch sensitive pad where it will allow you to write your destination, or just, you know, spell out the destination, which is a handy little feature if you just want to like write a B or an A for Audi.
The design itself is really simplistic. There's not much to it, and that just makes it great.
Few buttons of the radio in the front of that.
Yeah, you've got your media, which is your phone. You've got your radio. You've got your telephone. You've got menu and back and navigation / maps. That's all you need.
Everything.
What is it? 5, 6 buttons to just go click, 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 and scroll with the wheel.
And this is how Audi has all been. It's always been this way. Like from my wife's car to, you know, to my cousin's car. They all have been the same thing. The same, let's say, less distracting for the driver. So he knows there are just buttons that he needs to flick, memorize, and flick, and he goes to that menu instead of fumbling around.
Moving back into the car. Below that, we've got the gear selector. Now, this is something I wanted to touch upon, because you get gear selectors that aren't pretty. You get gear selectors that aren't comfortable. And you get some gear selectors that are gorgeous, but just non-usable. I really like this gear selector, the design of it. It's comfortable in my hand. It's simple to go through once you get the use of it, because once you originally got in there, you felt that it was a bit, you know, fiddly to go between.
Yeah,
but as soon as we're used to it, no, it's perfectly fine.
But not just to make this video 5 hours long, okay? We're just gonna continue with the space of the car. Like, I mean, cup holders and boot space and storage space.
It's really a 2-seater car. You only need 2 seats. It's got 2 cup holders at the front. It's got storage bin on either side of us. You've got the glove box.
The armrest is very small, just for your phone, maybe a couple of keys.
It's got the wireless charger, which so far it's the first one we've had, and I've utilised it quite a bit. There's 2 USBs. There's one in front of the cup holders,
one under the armrest,
one under there,
and the, what do you call it, the glove box, that thing that I always call it.
That thing. So, yes, it's got one of them things,
Yeah, the glove box is fairly decent if you remove the owner's manual. So you'll just have some decent room. Just because above that you have where you put the CD player, and you put the SIM card. That's what's over there. So you have a wireless option in the car.
Now I want to move you on to the seats. Because I love the design of the seats. I think they're great. They look good. They're fairly comfortable. They come with a series of bits and bobs that I'm gonna let Ahmed talk about.
Sorry, I'm just waiting for someone to reverse. That's why I'm just so distracted. I don't want anyone to hit the car.
The seats.
So going back to the seats.
Ahmed, we're gonna crash. Sorry. The seats.
Okay. So speaking of the seats, they're very comfortable. You have, we're in the sports seats. I think there's another option of the seats that we didn't experience yet, but these seats are very comfortable. I think they are 18-way adjustment, if I'm not mistaken. There are a lot of ways to adjust these seats. You have the lumbar support, which you can control from the infotainment system.
You've also got side bolsters
with the button. Yes, exactly. And you have the side bolsters where you can expand them, retract them, make them hug you most.
Make them fit a thin person, make them fit a fat person.
Exactly.
Which they've done.
And you have a massage function, which is one of the nice features that I like. He didn't like it. I like the massage function. So one thing we forgot.
Okay, what did I forget?
The AC vents. The AC vents are nicely one strip off.
It is a great
ventilated
design.
area, and where you expect that there is no AC vent, it just looks like a vent. I think it's a vent that you can open it.
You can alter
from the
vents,
settings.
yes.
So it looks nice. It just looks like one.
It's potentially one of the best designed AC systems, and might be the best AC we've reviewed so far.
I think so. Like in this heat, not feeling it at all.
Yes,
that's Audi for you.
Okay, so moving on from the interior, we're going to talk about how this thing drives. Now, I'm going to let Ahmed drive for this part because this is the car he loves. Did you just stick it into manual? All right, okay, here we go. So this thing, okay, yes, it is down 6 horsepower than its previous model. However, it is incredibly light. Well, incredibly light. It's not incredibly light. It's 1.7 tons, the car itself, which is quite light for a car of its type.
Yeah.
It's also, it might be down 6 horsepower, but it is enough because it's light. This car does pull. And not only does it pull, it sounds damn good doing it.
But the only issue that I have is that the sound deadening is so good, I can't hear the car inside it.
No, you can
barely
get a little bit.
It's so good, the
yes,
sound
it is.
deadening, which is something I'm a bit confused about. Like, I like it because you can't hear the road when you're driving comfortably, but when you're in a sport and you want to hear those burbles and crackles, and like, I want to hear them more. So carry on.
No, it is, and it does sound immense. Just, you know, roll down your window. Because this is the kind of car, and it does do this when you put it into sports mode, into a dynamic mode. Because this does have 3 or 4 driving settings. It's got an auto setting where the car will just adjust it for itself.
Yes.
Don't go mad, I'm trying to explain something.
Yeah.
It's got comfort settings where the car's just going to be as a regular A5, and it's got the dynamic settings. And the dynamic is, you know, most powerful the engine can be, the best sounding it can be, Ahmed mode. Now, the 4th mode, there is an individual setting where you can make the steering comfortable or auto or whatever, and the exhaust dynamic if you so wish.
Every single thing.
Or as Ahmed set up individual as just dynamic, which makes no sense, but okay.
That's the thing. Audi says 0 to 100 in 3.9 seconds.
That's
but
very conservative.
exactly, they don't want you to pull 4, and they say, well, he said 3.9. No. 3.9, you're gonna get 3.9.
You're gonna get sub 3.9,
exactly.
let's be honest. But in the worst of conditions,
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
get
say
3.9 at least.
Yeah.
It's an amazing car to experience. It's an amazing daily car.
Yes.
That, and maybe I said this about other cars as well.
No, it is an amazing daily car, but this is also an amazing sports car. It can be both, and it is both.
It gives you,
and that's something you want to stress. It is both.
and it's emotional. It
Yes.
raises your adrenaline when you want to put your foot down and just go. Because
Even getting in the car, I would say you're sat pretty low, because, you know, I'm mostly upper body. And to get out, you've got to get over this sill, which makes you feel like you're low. And it's got a nice driving position. I like it, as, you know, as a giant human. Okay, so you've seen the car. You've seen how pretty it is. You've seen our ugly mugs. Sorry, his ugly mug. My beautiful, gorgeous face. And we're going to give you our final thoughts on the car. You've had a drive.
yeah.
You've had a good look. You've made oh sweet love to it. So what are your final thoughts, Ahmed? Did it live up to your dreams and expectations as to what an RS was going to be?
Honestly,
Yep.
yeah. Really.
And to be honest, as much as I've teased Ahmed about the fig vents and whatnot, it is a phenomenal car. It is. This car is actually for sale
Words can
with
do it
Bahbahani.
justice.
This was the demo car. It was mostly used by the directing manager.
Yes.
Or general manager, I'm not sure. But this is an incredible car, and
I mean,
do come down to Audi Bahrain. Do have a look at this, because like I said, it is for sale and it's going for 40,000 BD, and honestly, it's worth every penny.
Words, you know what? I don't have the words for it.
We don't have the words for it, and honestly, it's been quite surprising. You know,
We're fighting on who gets to drive it.
yeah,
Just so you know.
I want to drive it home, he wants to drive it home, but
I mean,
it is just such a good looking car.
we haven't talked about this real brake light.
This is the thing though, this car is good in so many ways, we could just end up talking about it for days. And honestly, half of me wants to, because I've enjoyed it so much.
We haven't talked about the Bang & Olufsen sound system. We haven't talked about the interior lighting. We haven't talked about so many things.
So many things that this car can do and does incredibly well. If, you know, this has been a car that Ahmed wants to own. And as you can tell, as he strokes it as he walks around, he still does want to own it. And this is one car for the list, right?
I mean, just look at this. When I first saw it, I thought the trunk was open. No, it's a style line, it's a design.
This car is beautiful. The spec is right for you. It's got a red interior.
I love
and you
red.
love red.
And Nardo grey, that's just one of my favorites.
To me, I'd have the interior in black, but I can't really fault the car for it. Oh, I think the carbon fiber roof is pretty cool. Don't get me wrong, I've teased you enough for it. But it's cool. The interior I wouldn't, Simply, that's just my choice. But I can't fault this car. I can't.
Before anything, you know what we should do? We didn't do. I'll try to get out in the back, and then we're gonna.
So okay, we'll end the video with you in the back of the car.
So bear with us.
Okay.
So I can get in the back.
Okay. Okay.
So
back at it.
See
you ready to get in the back?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, good luck. So this was my seating position.
So what you have to do is pull on this latch.
Yeah.
And then
you have to press the front button, Ahmed.
I know.
Just saying. Okay, so that's your seating position, right? Okie dokie.
Okay, can you get inside? Can you get inside or not?
We're about to see.
Over there!
Jesus, what was that? Well, I can get inside. I mean... Huh. Were you expecting that?
No.
Okay, so that's shocking. So that's a good place to end. Ah, in good old-fashioned Top Gear style, we're ending in a bombshell.
Yeah.
You can actually get an incredibly large man in the front and a normal man in the back.
I didn't like when I look at
this car is usable.
when I looked at the back, okay, it didn't seem like, you know, I can fit. No, but I can.
Okay, so this is a weird place to end, something we weren't expecting. So, thanks for watching.
I love the car even more now.
Ahmed, do you want to sign off?
Yeah, I mean, guys, you have another zone AC over here, so
you can zone off in the cool.
Yeah. I mean, so on this unexpected
bombshell
ending, I would say, I cannot say bombshell because it's trademarked. So I think so. Anyway, so on this unexpected ending, thank you very much for joining us on this amazing video, I hope.
We hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
And turn on the notification bell.
Yeah.
So until next time, just drive.